what boundaries can you set with your mom especially? You know, maybe explaining to her, look, this is the situation. I don't like it any more than you do, but I'm a grown adult and I deserve to be respected.
I thought you were going to say I'm a grown-ass woman. I was like,
I thought I'm a grown-ass woman. You choose your words.
Check out this clip from Headspace Studios' podcast series, Dear Headspace. Hi, you two. How are we doing? Okay, one sentence or less, each of you, go.
That was a lot.
Don't everybody answer at once. All right, Samantha, you go first.
I am doing pretty good, actually. I'm getting ready for some time off, so I have been pumping the brakes and slowing down for the slowdown.
Oh, that sounds nice. All right, Eve, you?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. It's actually been a really tough start to June. Actually, it's the anniversary of both my parents passing, so it's I'm doing okay. Yeah. I'm being totally honest.
Listen, we love total honesty here. I mean, because in spite of it, we have to move through our lives, right? Mm-hmm. Like in spite of whatever's happening for us.
Yeah.
Ooh, well, sending love to you, Eve, across the internet, because we're not in the same room, but it's coming nonetheless.
I feel it.
Yes.
I feel it.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm fine. I don't know. I'm as fine as I'm ever going to be working out of my bedroom. Let's see how our community is doing. All right. Here is our first question from Corey.
Hi, my name is Corey, and I use he, him pronouns. I live and work in the United States in a community that has relaxed gun laws. I work as a home health nurse, which I love, although I often have to pass by people who are pretty emotionally dysregulated on my way to see clients. I have lots of strategies to keep myself as safe as possible, but due to prior experiences, I'm terrified of handguns, which are becoming increasingly present. I don't want to, and I'm not really able to move or leave my job, but I struggle to find balance to be present and vigilant about safety without this spilling over to being hypervigilant and anxious. Mindfulness has helped me stay calm and focused in many emergencies. How can I use mindfulness to also slow down my heart rate and my tension when the world never really feels safe?
Okay, Corey, my friend, there is a lot happening in this question because we're talking about feeling unsafe in a community. We're talking about one particular thing in handguns, which I don't really think the question is about that. I think it's much more about fear of when you don't feel safe and you can't leave that situation. So I want to kick it over to you two to hear what you all say to start, because this is just a big question.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, this is, I think, just acknowledging that, we do live in what can be a pretty unsafe world at times. And it's scary. There's a lot to be fearful of. And so I'm also just really pleased to hear that you have found mindfulness helpful to you in a situation to calm yourself, and the great news is you're already familiar with some of these techniques, which I think can be so supportive in the moment. A practice that comes to mind for me is the body scan meditation. It's actually the core practice of mindfulness-based stress reduction. And the reason that practice is used really at the front and center of the program is because when we're in a state of fight or flight, that fear response is a very physical reaction. Like the body is preparing to run away or to fight, or in some cases freeze. And so it sounds like you have a huge amount of awareness around your environment, the situations that you're in. And so the body scan is a way to really become much more in tune when you're in a situation where you perhaps are feeling anxious or fearful, and you can start to acknowledge those or notice those sensations in your body. It's a moment to perhaps stop, take a few slow, deep breaths, because that can help to calm your nervous system. And we actually have some body scan meditations in the Headspace app that I would definitely recommend checking out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's really great that you pointed out like the fight or flight, because it's like that was the first part I heard in the question, because it's the hop, skip, and a jump from there's a lot of guns and because of previous situations I have fears around it to we're always unsafe. And that's what it sounded like Corey was doing in the question.
Right. But I'm also hearing, hey Corey, I'm also hearing this fight or flight and fear, but I hear joy, that you have a job that you really love and have also found some connection in working with the people that you're able to work with, and find that when we are in a place of like acceptance that this world holds many things, and two of those things are joy and fear, we have to find a way to exist. And one way to do that is to leaning into the joy, into the things that bring us joy, finding communities that help to like really build us and help us find that safety, the safety within us that we can always like sort of tap into. And that does tend to help.
What's interesting is I think sometimes like I struggle with like with optimism. It like, and if I have on a pair of glasses that tell me that the world is, we're all so divided, we're you know, global warming is coming, who knows what's going to happen with this election, or you look globally, how are these problems going to solve? When I start going out there, all I know is no good comes.
Right.
Like I never get less scared. But when I start to like, we the other podcast I host called Well Adjusting, we had a guy from the Optimism Institute on, and he talked about focusing on your center of influence, and that's the people around you and what you can touch and heal. And I've been trying to think about that, like not looking down that road at all the things that I think are wrong or bad. And I don't know if that offers any help, Corey, but maybe there is a different pair of glasses you can put on that might help lean into the joy, like you said, and then Eve, like you said, you know, working toward like checking in on your body.
Right.
If you've been in previous situations that have been very scary, threatening, perhaps in some way, it's only natural that that will come with you when you're out and about in situations where that's happened before. And so the fact that you have some strategies that you mentioned when you were asking your question that help you to feel safe, I think continue to lean on those. But Robin's right. Like, if we start thinking about all the things that are going wrong in the world, it can feel just all consuming. Like, yes. And there's no solution.
It's
like,
a hop, skip, and a jump to like, what are we all doing?
Right, right. And Samantha's point was just so important around you. It sounds like have not only a lot of love for the job you do, but you're making a massive impact in your community and hopefully making other people feel really safe and supported. And I think that's such an incredible vocation to have. And so are there things maybe outside of your work that you can do that bring a smile to your face, that make you feel safe and secure with the people around you, like Samantha mentioned? Because those things, when we're in community with others, really help us to feel more supported in our daily life. And we spend obviously a lot of time at work. And so those things really, really matter. And also it's people for us to be able to rely on, to talk to express how we're feeling as well.
Right. The last point that I wanted to make, or one thing that came to mind, was when we think about our circle of influence and the world we live in, we have access to a lot of information. And because I'm a diversity, equity, and inclusion practitioner, like I get a lot of information, and it would be really easy for me to sit in doom, but it's also important for me to filter out information that I'm receiving in order for me to like save my bandwidth and be able to lean into the joy that is right in front of me. And so I would also just encourage you to think about what you're giving yourself access to, like what sort of information, social media, news, and things like that, and see if that might help to limit some of that in order to give you more bandwidth to see some joy and glimmers that are in front of you.
Yeah. And I think when it comes to mindfulness, there's a lot to be said for what we take in. And that's not just food that we might consume. It's media, news, people, our environment. And so, yeah, that's such a great point, Samantha, about what can you pause on in some cases in terms of what's coming into you, and then that hopefully cultivates some space for other things in your life. Yeah.
Well, good luck, Corey. We are sending you gentle and peaceful vibes and joyful vibes, I think.
Yeah. And thank you so much for the question and just amazing work.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's take our next question from Erica. Here we go.
Hi, dear Headspace. My name is Erica from Colombia. My question is, I currently live with my parents. For financial reasons, I wish I would have my own place, but it is not possible, at least for now. And the relation with my mother is really difficult. I feel like she doesn't respect my desires and my needs. Whenever I want to turn on a light, for example, she just doesn't accept it. She just is upset, and she treats me basically as if I was a child and didn't know what to do in life. It is affecting me in my whole life in general, because I feel like I'm living in this fight or flight state all the time, as I am currently under stress due to this tension with her. And I would like to have some advice. Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks, Erica. I mean, who hasn't gone back to our family, whether it be temporarily or long term, and felt 12? I mean, it's just we all just drop right into roles. So this is such a pertinent question, even if it's specific to Erica.
It made me think about when I was preparing to get out of my mom's house and the time leading up to it, and just being so ready to leave without one, truly being ready, but also just not knowing why I was so ready, And I think that there is a time where we all get to a space we're ready to get out into the world. We need our independence. We have not had not created a relationship where we could communicate with our mom. I couldn't communicate with my mom what I was needing or why the relationship was so strained. And so we were both amicably ready to get out.
Wrap this up, Samantha.
Get on out of there. It was just right. We were just both ready. So this question made me think about how hard that was. And so I just want to sort of sit with you, Erica, and validate, like, it is hard. And it is okay for you to be ready to leave your mother's house. And just like sort of sit with that. So it doesn't feel like there needs to be any guilt for wanting to leave.
Yeah. And I think, because I had a similar situation where I went home after college and my mom was not in a good space, and it was never going to be good. I mean, I was like sleeping on the floor. The place wasn't big enough. It was like a hot mess, and I couldn't get out soon enough. But I wasn't much like you, Erica. I was out of college, and I don't think I understood what to do in order to find a job or how to get a job. And I hadn't done internships, and I was just very lost. And so I felt trapped. But I want to say, if it is bad, use that energy to push you toward the solution of removing yourself from that situation. Like, because there are often times where, like, relationships, dynamics may not change.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I also heard in your question, you said you're back living with your parents to save money, to get, I would imagine, your own place. And so there's this notion of going backwards, which is also really, really tough, because you want to be moving forwards. And it sounds like you have plans, and you want to execute those plans and follow your, dreams and goals. And that's so honorable. And of course, we don't know the dynamic of your relationship now. Obviously, it sounds difficult, but it sounds like it was potentially quite difficult in the past. And so I'm thinking around boundaries.
Yes.
So this is the situation right now. But as Robin said, this is temporary. Okay, it's maybe going on longer than you would hope.
It always does.
And it always does.
Mhm.
Yeah, things always take a bit longer than we might think. But what boundaries can you set with your mom especially? Maybe explaining to her, look, this is the situation. I don't like it any more than you do. But I'm a grown adult and I deserve to be respected.
I thought you were going to say I'm a grown-ass woman. I was like,
thought so
okay,
too.
Eve.
Well,
I thought
I'm
so
a grown-ass woman. You choose your words. But you deserve respect.
Yeah.
And of course,
Yeah.
obviously going back into, it sounds like it might be your mum's house, even though it's your parents' house. But I'm sure she has the way of running the house and obviously sounds like certain rules. And so how can you work with her, obviously knowing what might upset her, but also get her to acknowledge and at least appreciate that you are trying your very best. You do have a plan, and actually it will go a lot faster if she could actually get on board with that. And so it's around boundaries and around communication.
And if that doesn't work, hide. Like I found $1 movie theater near my house and I was at the movies like 4 days a week. Like hiding is a great option when it's a temporary situation. And to your point earlier, Eve, when you said, back time, like if you are making yourself feel bad about that, don't. It's not linear. So,
No.
be gentle with yourself.
Absolutely. One thing that Erica mentioned and you just reiterated, Eve, was she said she has plans in her. You said, Erica, that your mom is treating you as if you don't have plans or like you don't know what it is you're doing. And that just makes me think like there's a feeling of not being heard or seen or valued. And how do you communicate? And where are you getting that from? Like, where do you need to get it from? Because your mother may not be able to give that to you.
Yeah. Sometimes people have limits.
Yes.
Like, and that's a very hard thing to accept, that this is who they're going to be. And but I do think that there's hope in when you are out of the situation, you might be able to then double back and work on your relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think
if you choose, I should say.
Well, exactly. And I think our expectations of people can often really let us down.
Yeah.
And especially when it's a family relationship and a mother-daughter relationship, that it can be so complicated. And Robin and Samantha are right. She just may never be able to change. And that makes me feel sad because I feel like she's going to really miss out on what an amazing human you are and going to be. And so even though things now you may feel really stuck, it might be worth, and you may have done this already, but is there the sort of in the short term, what can I do to make this situation and myself feel okay? Is that spending some more time with friends, doing things outside of the house where feasible, like Robin mentioned, even just going on walks, again, maybe with friends, if you have a dog, maybe, and then what is the, longer term goal? And so whatever time frame that is, I'm sure you have in X amount of time, I want to be out of here. And so use that as motivation. What is it each week? Maybe having a little goal each week. And is there someone that can hold you accountable to that? Maybe it's a friend. And you can partner up with someone, who's on your side,
Right.
to help make you feel like you're moving forward. But
that's fantastic advice.
that.
Stay on the plan, Erica. Stay on the plan. You got this.
Yes.
And it's okay if it changes a little bit. That's okay.
Yeah. As long as it's moving.
That's the journey.
And it's moving you toward, where you want to be. That's it. Well, I mean, this is a wonderful, wonderful question, Erica. Hard situation, and we are sending you all the love and all the support.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Erica. And I'm sorry, you're feeling this way, but you've got this. The fact that you asked this question means you want to make something happen.
Yes.
We believe in you.
Yes. All right. We've got one more question from Tanya. Here we go.
Hi, dear Headspace. This is Tanya from Italy, and I have a question on how to make someone realize that she needs help, therapy, maybe a rage counselor, anger counselor, something like that. We're talking about my aunt, which is treating my mom and my grandma very badly for reasons that are related to heritage and these things, but I think that are actually more profound and linked to, our personal issues that she has to see for herself, but that reflects the way she treats others. But I know that I cannot just say, go see a therapist, because she, of course, thinks she doesn't need a therapist. But so how can I use mindfulness to make someone understand that her behavior is not okay? Thank you. Hope it was clear.
Oh, thank you so much for this question. I mean, there's a word that just jumps out at me that was said several times, and I'm curious if it jumped out to you all. What's the word I'm thinking of, you two?
Boundaries.
Boundaries.
Oh, yes, but the specific word she said, make. How can you make
yes,
someone? How can you make someone, and I don't know that you can ever make someone get help.
No.
Which is not an answer anyone wants, Tanya, and I'm sorry to say that.
The short answer is, Tanya, unfortunately, no. I don't think you can make anyone do anything if they're not ready or they don't want to or don't accept something. That it reminds me of that saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. But don't worry, we're going to expand on that, on that statement.
And there you go, Tanya. Good luck. Can you imagine?
There you go. No, there are definitely, there's definitely approaches. There's definitely approaches.
Well, Tanya, I do appreciate you writing in with this question. And like we have said, is when listening to the question, so much of it is around making her realize she needs therapy, making your family think that she's a nice person. And, I think there is a need to really pause and just say, one, you need care yourself, and you need someone to hold and support you as well. And so one thing I would suggest is to maybe find ways to prioritize your own well-being and self for a little bit, so that you can have the energy that you need to support your family. I would start there.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, it sounds like you're very focused on her situation. And of course, for good reason. It's causing you and your family, your mom, your grandmother, a lot of upset. And it sounds like she's taking a lot of energy right now with her behavior, with her communication. And you specifically said, how can I lean on mindfulness as a way to support me in this situation, and possibly her. And I think what comes to mind for me is, and we've shared this in a couple of the other episodes today, is around boundaries. And I think what's so important is that you're really clear on what your boundaries are with her behavior. And that might also involve your mum being clear, your grandmother being clear. I'm not sure of how difficult the situation is right now, whether they're even talking. Sounds like you are in some form of communication with her, but it's okay to say to her, without saying, I think you should go to therapy because you're really an angry person. That probably won't go down very well.
Probably not.
Maybe not. But instead, maybe saying, look, I know this situation is really difficult for you and you believe that certain things should happen, but I'm not prepared to accept this aggressive or whatever behavior it is from you. And if you're going to continue behaving in that way, then I think we should have some distance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My wife talks about that all the time, is like we get into these headstrong arguments where it's like I'm taking one position, they're taking another. And she was like, if this is a tug of war, just drop the rope. And it's such a difficult thing to do, to drop the rope and walk away. But when I'm able to do it, when I'm able to just be like, well, they're going to do what they're going to do, and then step away, I say my piece. I say, here's why I'm asking you not to do that. And then I have what my boundaries are, which is like, you will not speak to me disrespectfully. You are allowed to disagree with me. You are allowed to have feelings, but you are not allowed to speak to me disrespectfully. And so those boundaries are very clear. They're communicated, but then the rest is sort of on me. Like your aunt's going to do what she's going to do. She's either going to get help, she's not going to help, she's going to be difficult, she's going to be sort of ragey. But you have a reaction or a control over what you do when she does that.
Yeah. And then I'm thinking about it now, Tanya, and I know how hard it can be in some families where other family members who are being mistreated might actually be enabling that anger while you see it as a mistreatment and you want it to stop happening. That other people may not be doing the same thing. And if you're finding yourself in the middle of fighting a one-sided war,
That's interesting.
what can you put into place to save yourself in those situations? And I'm just imagining like family dynamics, sort of like my own, where we have some really strong women in my family, and we have in our middle are me and my cousins, and then on a sandwich between us is like my aunts and my grandmother, and we're like, okay, we got to all make a stance here, and we got to band together. So who can you band together with that will help you sort of like speak to both sides of that sandwich and say, hey, you are both creating chaos. It has to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wonder too, sometimes like in that scenario you just described, Samantha, like there is also sometimes family dynamics where people are just like, if you call them out on it, they're like, what? What'd I do? Like it's just how they've always operated. And I think it's an important question. Is it an anxiety that's being given to everyone in the family? Or is it your anxiety and you're watching? I think that's a distinction to figure out, because if it's just yours, well, then they're just doing what they do. And then I say mitigate the amount of time that you're there.
Yeah. And of course, not knowing the full dynamics of the situation, but from what you've described and shared, it sounds like your aunt especially is just totally unaware of her behavior.
What'd I do?
And so, and also, again, these issues within the family may have been going on for years.
Right.
And so there could be a lot of hurt, pain, resentment, feeling let down, not heard on both sides of the table. And so that's really complicated. And trying, especially within a family dynamic, trying to problem solve where people are feeling the way they're feeling and feel very, very, very firm about their situation. I think the only thing I would say when it came to the therapy piece is, rather than saying, I think you should go to therapy, it's like, look, this situation is really, really problematic. I don't think we have the capacity and the skills to manage this in a way that feels equitable and reasonable. Maybe we all should consider some outside help. Would you be open to that?
Right.
That's a great way to approach it. That's much less, you're the problem. I love that.
Yeah, because yes, she may be the bit of the
instigator.
catalyst. But, you know, that when one person starts behaving a certain way, other people react. And then before you know it, there is no one's listening.
Right.
And you're sort of digging in even further. So that might be a more open, non-threatening way to suggest, saying, look, I think we all need help here.
Yeah.
Versus just one person.
Right. And the truth is, you probably all need help there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's probably a lifetime of this pattern, of this being the way this is. I don't get the impression this is just one Christmas that went awry. Like this is like a lifetime patterns.
Yeah. And it sounds like a fair amount of healing needs to happen, and possibly forgiveness. And sometimes that's really hard to do, on your own. And actually you all have some support might be that, whether it's like a mediator, someone who can do some group work, to actually be the mediator in these conversations. Because when it gets heated, it's not going to end well.
The theme that came through all these, because I just was going to say to Tanya as well, like, we're sending you love and hope that this works out okay for you. But the theme that's just emerged is like, when you're stuck in a situation, there's no quick and immediate answer, and you've got to try to, take care of yourself and either help solve it or walk away. And so this was just wonderful advice from you both today.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Tanya. And it sounds like you really, really care about your family, in the sense that you're trying to problem solve, you're trying to find solutions. And, that's amazing that you have that care and your love, and you're trying to see both sides of the situation. And so hopefully this was helpful. But I think, as Samantha said, you need care as well. And so don't forget about that.
Yeah. Okay, well, I also wanted to share with our listeners that, if you're looking for more direct help, mental health coaching is now available in the Headspace app, which is a pretty fantastic thing if you ask me. You get to connect with a trained expert, someone just like our lovely Samantha here. You're going to get live one-on-one care and support. And the main thing, it's help on your time from anywhere.
And I just want to add, whatever you're going through, we're here for you every step of the way.
She sure is. She's here for me right now. We're going to stop recording, and then she's going to help me a bit. So I'm first. You guys get in line. All right. Now I want to say thank you to Corey, Erica, and Tanya for their questions today. And if you want to get some help from all the experts here at Headspace, we've made it so easy for you to ask a question on Dear Headspace. You're going to go to sayhi.chat/Dear Headspace, and you're just going to follow those prompts. Easy breezy. And that link to record your questions is in the show notes. And if we use your question on Dear Headspace, you will get 3 months of Headspace for free.
I know. I love that offering.
Until next time, stay happy,
stay healthy,
and be kind to each other.